Hi loves, get ready with me whilst I do my makeup and tell you interesting stories. I was warned. From the time I was a little girl, they told me in this village, people do not forget. They forgive to your face and curse you at night. I didn't take it seriously. I was too young, too full of dreams and sunlight to believe in shadows. But life had its own way of humbling you. Not loudly, but quietly, with cracked doors, half-heard whispers, and eyes that watch you when you think you are alone. My village sits between two rivers. They say it was founded by twins, one born in light, one in darkness, and only one survived. My mother was a tailor, soft-spoken. She wore white every day. She said the color made her feel clean even if the world was dirty. And the world, it was dirtier than I knew. She warned me about one woman in particular, Mama Anytime. She lived behind our house, past the orange trees, near the abandoned well, with no husband, no children, no visitors, just birds and jars and silence. She was the kind of woman people whispered about after church, the kind whose name made goats run for no reason. And my mother told me once, never collect anything from her, not even a smile. But when Mama Anytime came knocking after my mother's funeral, she brought rice and oil and silence. I was 17. I was foolish, so I took it all. 2 years passed. I got the chance of a lifetime, a scholarship to study pharmacy in Abuja. I was going to become someone, escape this village, build a life that didn't smell of dust and incense. When I told the elders, some clapped, some nodded, and some, like Mama Anytime, just stared. She said nothing at first, but as I walked away, I heard her whisper behind me, "The wings you borrowed are not your own." That night, I started dreaming of snakes, not biting, just watching. Then my cousin Chika fell sick. Then our roof collapsed. Then my acceptance letter vanished. But worst of all, I began to forget things. Simple things. My own name once. People started to look at me strangely. One woman said my shadow moved differently than my steps. Another said my laughter had an echo. I didn't tell anyone, not even my brother, because deep down, I knew what it was. I had taken rice from a woman who brewed bitterness. I tried to fight it with prayer, fasting, hospital visits, but nothing worked. I went to the church vigil hoping to find peace. The pastor laid his hands on my head and immediately pulled away. His eyes went wide. He whispered, "You're carrying something that was never meant to enter this world." That night, my reflection blinked before I did. I finally went to see Akpene, the oldest woman in our village. She didn't speak until I handed her kola nuts and poured water on the ground. She looked at me for a long time, then said, "You stepped on a snake thinking it was a rope." I asked what to do. She didn't give me herbs. She gave me a task. Find what was taken from you and bury it before it buries you. I went to Mama Anytime's house, midnight with no lanterns and no prayers. Her doors were already open, like she'd been waiting for me. The room smelled like burnt salt. There were jars on the shelves, hair, feathers, and teeth. But it was the center of the room that broke me. My acceptance letter, folded like a charm. My comb, still holding strands of my hair, and a photograph of me and my mother torn in half. She didn't flinch, didn't speak. She just smiled and said, "You thought your mother's white protected you, but her sins live in your blood." I wanted to scream. Instead, I took the letter, tore it from the charm, cut my finger and smeared my blood across it. She laughed and I left. But the next morning, she was found crawling in the village square naked, muttering the names of children who died before they were born. They said she'd gone mad, but I knew madness doesn't come overnight. Sometimes it waits. My life didn't return to normal, but I got accepted into school the next year. I left the village with more shadows than luggage. Sometimes I dream of Mama Eniton. Sometimes I dream of my mother wearing black instead of white. Sometimes I wonder if the revenge was mine, or if I just became the next vessel in a chain of women who never really healed. They say witchcraft is only evil, but now I know. It's not just curses and charms. Sometimes it's memory. Sometimes it's silence passed down like a necklace. And sometimes it's love, twisted until it breaks. So now I wear white, not for purity, but for warning. If you ever see a girl in the city with quiet eyes and a scar just beneath her wrist, know this: not all shadows come from the sun. Some are born inside us. Story number 2. I lived in a quiet village just outside Benin City. I was the first girl in our family to finish university. I came back home to take care of my mother, who was slowly losing her memory. They said it was age, but sometimes she spoke names we didn't recognize, names that weren't living anymore. We had a neighbor called Sister Amara. She had been close to my mother in their youth, too close. My mother never liked to talk about her, but after I came back, Amara was always around, bringing pepper soup, asking questions, and smiling like she knew the end of a story I hadn't started reading. One night, I came home late. The door to our back room was opened, the one we always kept locked. Inside, I found a bowl of charcoal and beside it, feathers tied with red string. I asked my mother about it. She looked me dead in the eye and said, "Don't ask questions you are not spiritually tall enough to handle." That night, I couldn't sleep. I heard footsteps in the background, not walking but sweeping. But when I looked outside, the ground was so dry. No broom, no tracks, only footprints. I went to see the old herbalist near Egbeson. I didn't tell him much, just that something felt off. He looked at me, touched my hand and said, "You are eating food seasoned with jealousy, and your name has been buried beside a dead woman's bone." I was shaking. He told me to search under my mother's bed, and I did. There, hidden inside a broken pillowcase, was my photograph, folded 7 times with a dead butterfly wrapped inside. Amara, it had to be her. The herbalist gave me 3 items: a clay pot, a bitter cooler, and a mirror. He said, "Don't fight her, reflect her, let her taste her own venom." That night, I lit a candle, placed the mirror beside it, and said her name 7 times. I didn't sleep, but I heard her scream. Not in real life, but somewhere between the walls, somewhere no one else could reach her. The next morning, Amara was found outside her house, muttering the same sentence over and over. She showed me herself. My mother never forgot her name again. Amara left the village a month later, her house still empty. As for me, I never opened strange doors anymore. Not spiritual ones, not emotional ones. And if something knocks late at night, I pray it never learns how to speak my name. That's the end of today's episode. I hope you did enjoy the video. and you enjoy the story time as well. So this is the final look, guys. How do I look? Scrumptious. Okay.